A crazy crash caught on camera, serving as a warning to drivers in this wintry and icy weather. What's in store for your weekend? Tom Russell has that coming up.
First thought is, this is insane. What's going on? What the heck? What do I do?
A miraculous landing in the middle of a highway. A driver's first-hand account of this plane just 20 feet above him.
Before you pick up that snow shovel, be aware of some of the risks and injuries you can get while shoveling the snow. We talk more about that coming up next.
And the obvious dangers of being a firefighter is the actual fire. But what about the smoke? Tonight, we're investigating the long-term dangers this toxic component plays in our heroes' lives.
Live from central Pennsylvania, this is CBS 21 News at 11.
This is what the nation's capital looked like earlier. The White House sporting a white coat of snow, and that is what it looks like all across the Northeast region. A live look now at the Capitol here in Harrisburg. It is a dark night with that shining light kind of just really getting our attention there. It is 11 o'clock on your Friday, and thank you for joining us. Chief Meteorologist Tom Russell is here. All eyes on you, Tom. What's going on for the weekend?
Well, we do have a lot of cold air coming in, and on that cold air, we've got another round of what I call bonus snow. Some snow creating a coating, maybe even an inch in a couple of spots. First of all, we're very cold. We've been below freezing. We remain that way. 23 in York, 25. So obviously there is a concerned refreeze. Anything that was slushy turns icy. But now the wind's coming out of the northwest at 10, 15 miles per hour. And look what's riding on those winds. Another streak of snow working its way from about State College all the way down into our southern counties as well. So watch out for another coating of snow here over the next hour or two, and then we'll be finished with any more snow. But it is some bonus snow as we speak. Watch these future wind chills go from the teens into the single digits, even below zero by tomorrow morning. There is some cold air coming in, and then even throughout the day tomorrow, single digit wind chills. So breezy and cold tonight as we dip down into the teens. Windy, mostly cloudy, cold tomorrow, the high only 25. A little better on Sunday with some sunshine and a high around 30, but it will still be windy. So now that the snow is finishing up, time for you to clean it up. CBS 21's Hallie Jacobs breaks down the various regulations facing you here in central PA.
Each city has its own regulations when shoveling snow, which creates a varied landscape for property owners and tenants. In York, the snow removal code requires residents and property owners to clear their sidewalks within 12 hours of the snow ending. Lancaster requires property owners to remove snow and ice within 5 hours after. Harrisburg gives owners and tenants a 24-hour window to clear their sidewalks of snow and ice. However, not clearing it can lead to fines ranging from $50 to $1,000 or up to 90 days in Dauphin County Prison for each violation. One resident we spoke with talks about the difficulty of removing snow from his property.
I was not expecting this much snow, and I do not have a shovel, and luckily the neighbor was nice enough to lend me hers.
While snow removal is a necessary chore during the winter months, it does come with potential health risks. Rebecca Wickenheiser, a physician assistant at Patient First, says they've been seeing a lot of people come in with injuries related to snow removal.
Most particularly back injuries, shoulder sprains and pains, other muscular injuries, and then those related to slip and fall. So
before you pick up that shovel, there are some steps you can take to lower your risk of injury.
Try to stretch, try to make yourself a little more limber so you can get those muscles woken up. Pushing the snow instead of trying to lift it, lifting with your knees and not necessarily with your back.
Frostbite is another common concern for those spending extended periods outdoors.
Watching out for the discoloration of skin. Sometimes it can be gray in color, sometimes a little waxy in appearance. It can sometimes itch and burn. It's not necessarily painful right away.
So as you're shoveling snow this winter, it's important to remember to always stay hydrated because you can still suffer from dehydration during these winter months. So Patient First recommends taking frequent breaks and pacing yourself. Reporting for CBS 21 News, I'm Hallie Jacobs.
Hallie, thanks. Check this out. It captures the moment a tractor trailer jackknifed and almost slammed into a building in Shenandoah, Schuylkill County this morning. Fire crews tell us nobody was injured. The only damage was to a pole in part of the outside of the building. Another reason to stay off the roads when the weather gets like this. Wow. But first, firefighters, they can't avoid weather like this. When they're called to the scene, they have to go. So here's how Harrisburg Fire Chief Brian Enterline says they do mitigate injury. First, getting crews off the scene as quick as possible, out of the elements. Carrying rock salt, calling out the Public Works Department. It all helps prevent any slip and fall injuries. He says the biggest issue, though, is when people do not clear off their porches or sidewalks.
Firefighting is a rough sport, no matter what season of the year it is. Wintertime really proves challenging for us because the main ingredient that we use to put out the fire, water, freezes, and we end up with all kinds of issues.
To keep their hoses from freezing, firefighters will crack the nozzle to keep water flowing as well. You know, despite horrible visibility, blowing snow, and slick road conditions, a small commuter plane headed to Lancaster made an emergency landing on a highway in Virginia today. 7 people were on board when the remarkable landing was made. Here's what one witness saw as the plane was navigating around trees, power lines, and traffic lights.
Heard a loud noise, thinking my car blew up or something. And I look up and there's a plane 20 feet above me. And lands 30 feet in front of me. First thought is, this is insane. What's going on? What the heck? What do I do? It landed, went underneath the traffic light, got squirrely over here and hit the guardrail.
So in terms of the investigation, no cause at this point. The NTSB is investigating with Virginia State Police. This weather can be extremely difficult for the aging population, so many local services are stepping up around the county, like Ardent Court Memory Care Center, making sure residents have proper care. Transportation plays a big role, whether it's taking someone to the doctors or giving them food through Meals on Wheels. But community support is just as important.
It's a great opportunity to be a neighbor, check in on your neighbors. Maybe they ask you to go pick up their prescription for them. Great opportunity to, just be in the community and serve your community.
Doing things like taking out the trash for a neighbor or offering to take them to the doctors, all small but impactful ways to help. Last night, the Susquehannock School District, that's in southern York County, was in an hours-long debate over whether to reinstate their old mascot logo portraying a Native American fighter. Some called the logo culturally insensitive. Others said it's a homage to Pennsylvania's history as Native American land. At the end of a nearly 2-hour public comment section, the district voted to bring the logo back in a 7-2 vote.
It represents our community. And it represents the students in our school currently, yes, but it also represents over 60 years of students who graduated from this school.
Now, part of the reason the change came about is 5 newly elected Republicans on the board who won their seat last November after running with the old mascot on campaign materials. Concerns about the southern border continue tonight in D.C. President Biden met with Mexican officials today, and in PA, a bill has been introduced to ban sanctuary cities. This week on Face the State with Joel D. Smith, we are talking to one of the supporters of the measure.
By getting rid of sanctuary cities, it would remove a barrier and ensure that our taxpayers are getting the programs that they pay for, not funding for someone who entered the country illegally.
Join us Sunday on Face the State with Joel D. Smith for our full interview with PA House Minority Leader Brian Cutler. Joel D. also talks to him about education and breaking down the new bills taking on gun control. It's all on CBS 21, 8:30 on Sunday morning. Democratic Senator Bob Casey says that he has a plan to address some of the issues at the border. The PA senator says that there's a better way to track fentanyl being imported.
You can't talk tough on the border, as a lot of politicians do, and blow a lot of hot air, unless you're willing to invest in the technology that will detect fentanyl at the border. We have the best technology in the world, but we haven't deployed enough of it.
That technology that he's talking about would be able to track the drug in vehicles that cross into the U.S. at the border of Mexico. So he says last year, more than 1 billion doses of fentanyl was intercepted at the border. Let's go to Butler County now. This is Slippery Rock. State troopers report kids were found living in a home amongst 60 animals, some dead, some alive. Troopers went to serve a search warrant yesterday after reports of animal abuse at a home and found a horrifying scene. State police found a number of dead and rotting animals on the property, along with dozens of starving animals, including alpacas, dogs, cats, and poultry. The owners of the home surrendered the animals, all of them, to a shelter, but Children and Youth Services were contacted after children were found living amongst the filth. State police now investigating. And in Philadelphia, police are looking for 3 suspects accused of abandoning a baby in a Walmart parking lot. Last night around 11, police say 3 adults suspected of shoplifting were stopped by security. After a confrontation, the group left the store, leaving behind a 3-month-old baby girl. The child was handed over to the Department of Human Services, thankfully unharmed. Now the search is on for the suspects who abandoned her. So far, authorities have not released any pictures or descriptions. A national march for life happening in Washington, sparking the president to talk about what he would do for abortion rights and what his election opponents would not. And the dangers of being a firefighter just don't end when those flames are out. Spotlight on America looks at raising awareness for the long-term consequences of the job.
Tonight.
Are you ready for our final round?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Steven's got the host of After Midnight, Taylor Tomlinson.
Central PA winters can be unpredictable. The CBS 21 News First Warning Weather Team has over 60 years experience predicting the unpredictable.
Yeah, so before turning to other sources,
turn to the team that's seen and worked through it before.
And Barbara.
More than a year after a major victory for their cause, anti-abortion advocates are taking to the streets of D.C. for the annual March for Life. Thousands were expected to attend, and speeches marching as well past the Capitol, despite those frigid cold temperatures. Now, it's the second March for Life since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June of 2022, ending federal protections for abortion. Prominent Republicans attended the rally, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, who says his own life is the product of an unplanned pregnancy.
In January of 1972, exactly 1 year before Roe v. Wade, my parents, who were just teenagers at the time, chose life. And I am very profoundly grateful that they did.
This year's March for Life is being held with a backdrop of this year's presidential election, where abortion rights could heavily influence the results. The Biden administration says this November will determine the fate of women's reproductive rights. The president's re-election campaign released a memo today claiming the current GOP frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, wants to ban and criminalize abortion nationally. Now, Trump hasn't outright stated whether he'd support a nationwide abortion ban, but does say he supports exceptions to bans. Vice President Kamala Harris is kicking off a reproductive rights tour next week, where she'll urge voters to get to the polls for this reason. And here she was earlier this week.
Today, in states across our nation, extremists propose and pass laws to attack a woman's freedom to make decisions about her own body.
A June poll from USA Today and Suffolk University found that 80% of voters, including 65% of Republicans, oppose a national abortion ban. January is Firefighter Cancer Awareness Month. The World Health Organization recently designated the job of firefighting as a carcinogen, putting it in the same category of risk as cigarettes. With young firefighters facing devastating diagnoses, Spotlight on America's Lisa Fletcher discovered that failing protections are happening both in the gear they wear and the insurance that they're covered by.
Diane Cotter's husband, Paul, a firefighter, was in perfect health until 2015. At just 55 years old, Paul had an aggressive cancer.
When the doctor said those words, "It's cancer," I screamed, and my husband just broke out into a white sweat.
It would end his 27-year career in firefighting and send Paul into a depression.
His depression is what spurred me on to research firefighter cancer. This room, it's the war room.
Diane launched a crusade, turning her knitting room into a command center. firing off 25,000 emails, trying to unravel the mystery of why so many young firefighters were getting cancer. She discovered that embedded in their turnout gear were fluorinated chemicals known as PFAS, a class of waterproof materials long suspected to be carcinogens.
The numbers of these chemicals in our report, they look like a typo. They're so high.
One of them, PFOA, was just placed into the most dangerous class of carcinogens by the World Health Organization.
Our number one exposure we get to carcinogens is simply putting on our bunker gear and taking it off every day.
Ed Kelly is the general president of the International Association of Firefighters.
Cancer's been plaguing the fire service for generations, but it's at an epidemic level now.
We obtained a running list of job-related cancer deaths among firefighters since 2018. It wasn't uncommon for us to find victims in their 20s and 30s.
We know with cancer, early detection is one of the best ways of getting at it. Should firefighters be eligible for early screening and advanced monitoring?
It's critically important that firefighters get screened at younger ages. We know that a lot of our health insurances won't cover that screening at a younger age. We need change in that.
We contacted 8 of the largest health insurance companies in the U.S. to find out if they're covering screenings for early detection and at what age a firefighter is eligible. None of them answered our question.
Some places you are covered. Other places they have minimal coverage. So we need to do better. We'll go from Main Street to Wall Street and from the boardroom to the courtroom and take this fight wherever we need to go.
And the pressure is mounting. More than 20,000 firefighters, including Diane Cotter's husband, Paul, have joined a federal lawsuit against PFAS manufacturers.
The polluters have to pay. They've poisoned America's bravest. I stay in contact with so many widows and widowers of firefighters, and I want them to know we're seeking justice for them. We truly are.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Lisa Fletcher.
And now, CBS 21 News First Warning Weather with Chief Meteorologist Tom Russell.
All right, late at night on a Friday, and guess what? We got a little bonus snow here in central PA, and the strong northwest winds are kicking in, and with that, bringing down some snow from the north and west. So the winds don't look too bad right now, but they will be picking up in that 10 to 15 mile per hour range, and then even stronger over the weekend, more in that 20 to 30 mile per hour range. So windy, and we saw some snow today. How much at your house? We were generally around 3 inches for most folks. Cashtown was the high amount that I saw. That's Adams County, 4.5 inches. Shippensburg came in at 4.1. Boiling Springs just under 3. Harrisburg officially at 2.5. However, we have some snow right now. So as far as the 24-hour day, we're going to have to add to that perhaps. You can see these snow showers working their way down from State College through Lewistown, right along 22, 322. And now here in Harrisburg, we've had a nice coating of snow. And then if you follow that, we're going to see that coating into York and into Lancaster as well. So please be careful here late at night. We've got another good coating to an inch in spots, and that's becoming an issue. So slick conditions here through Perry County into Harrisburg and then down towards Manchester and into portions of York and Lancaster County. That'll be the last of it, but it is another good coating to an inch in spots. Cold day tomorrow. This stuff is going to stick around. 25 will be our high tomorrow. And coming in on these winds, these are future wind gusts. So not sustained, but wind gusts in that 20 to even 30 mile per hour range during the day tomorrow. So very windy. Winds die down a little bit tomorrow night, but they kick right back up on Sunday. So look what happens when we factor in these cold temperatures with the winds. It feels like, watch this, single digits, even below zero as you get up tomorrow morning. This could be a very cold day. Most of the day, single digit wind chills as you see here. So windy and cold right as we roll through the weekend. So tonight, some snow showers as we speak. We're turning colder overnight. That breeze is picking up into the teens we go. So a cold weekend is on the way. Mostly cloudy, windy, the high under 25 tomorrow. Better day on Sunday just because we have some sunshine, but it's still windy. It's still chilly, 32. Warm up next week. Look, 38 by Monday. Tuesday, mostly cloudy. We're into the mid-40s. By Wednesday, some showers, still mid-40s. Late week is a little unsettled with a couple of snow showers or a couple of rain showers around, but we'll be back to 50 degrees. 50, Jasmine, after this cold
nice.
week. But really, be careful for, especially like you and I going home tonight. It's going to be Very slick.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because we're getting old in our hips.
Well,
That's what I thought you were going
that
to
is
say. I was
true.
like, speak for yourself, okay?
You don't want to slip and break
Oh,
your hip.
now you made me
You
snort. Come on.
snorted.
All right. The infrastructure of electric vehicles called into question after this blast of cold weather across the country, Tom.
Now the White House is trying to help, while automakers are trying to pull back.
When all you want is some comfort entertainment, we've got it all on The Nest.
Absolutely amazing.
A brand new network filled with reality TV, unscripted stories, and series that you'll crave.
You and I on the road exploring history.
Fabulous.
I'm a reporter, I'm an author, but most importantly, I'm a mother.
Nothing left to do now but to get this thing sold. It's the ultimate comfort food TV. That's a guarantee. Right here on The Nest. Go to watchthenest.com to find The Nest in your area.
EVs.
A Uvalde County District Judge has seated a grand jury to consider possible criminal charges against the police officers who failed to properly respond to the Robb Elementary School shooting. So a local newspaper is reporting that it's called the Uvalde Leader News, is reporting that the officers could face charges of child endangerment. It is the first development in the criminal justice system amid multiple investigations into the botched police response. Officers waited over an hour to enter that classroom where the shooter was. 19 students were killed and 2 teachers. President Biden handing out today nearly $5 billion in student debt relief to 74,000 people. Most who benefit include teachers, nurses, firefighters, and other public service people for at least 10 years. The rest covers borrowers who have spent 20 years paying their student debt. It is the latest in a series of smaller debt relief programs that Biden has launched after the Supreme Court struck down his student loan forgiveness plan last year. Officials believe that won't happen again.
Not only are we confident that it's going to withstand, we're confident that we're going to continue fighting to make sure we can forgive as many loans as possible.
Today's announcement brings the total loan forgiveness approved by the Biden administration to more than $136 billion. Automakers believe demand for electric vehicles will fall this year, so the White House is looking for ways to help. The administration is announcing a new set of actions to help the industry's transition, and that includes expanding EV tax credits for installing chargers at homes or businesses. The White House says the credit will now be available to about 2/3 of Americans. In addition, $325 million in new investments will be made available to repair broken chargers. But you know what? Ford is already starting to pull back from producing EVs. Why? Not a big enough demand. In fact, it sold fewer than 25,000 F-150 Lightning pickups last year. Compare that to more than 700,000 of the gas counterpart. The move will impact about 1,400 employees as they switch to running a shift for less people once a day. The S&P today closing at a record high, fueled by surging tech stocks and bets that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates this year. The index closed at 4,839, beating the previous best by about 40 points. The Dow jumped a whopping 395 points, and the Nasdaq did well, adding 225 points. We do have an update coming up on those 17 Shih Tzus who were rescued from filth covered in feces, how the Humane Society of
Weeknights on the X-Files, things get so weird. What? Sometimes you just gotta go with it. Go with it, Scully. Little green men? There it is! Just go with it.
I'm sorry?
Haunted houses? Haunted. Go with it. Horned beasts?
Horned beast?
Just go with it.
Mythological jaguar spirit?
You betcha.
Go with it, Scully.
The whammy?
They put the whammy on him.
Please explain to me the scientific nature of the whammy.
Just go with it, Scully.
Sure, fine. Whatever.
The X-Files, weeknights starting at 8, 7 Central on Comet.
Harrisburg were able news from the Humane Society, Tom, the Humane Society of Harrisburg. So they took in the 17 dogs that were covered in feces and they found them some foster homes.
So now all those dogs have foster homes. So we told you about this story of the dogs who were rescued from that house in Enola. This was back in November. They say the dogs were living in a dangerous situation with most of them covered in feces.
All right, so now the Humane Society is teaming up with more than 50 backup foster homes, hoping to give the pups a house and a life they deserve. So HSHA does need donations, and they want to continue to work with these dogs.
That's great. Give them a good home for sure.
Yeah, a lot of dogs.
You've heard about lake effect snow, right?
I have.
No joke. Check this out. Western New York, they've been slammed with 5 to 6 feet of snow. Just look at that in the last couple of days.
Oh.
Look at this video coming out of Western New York. Crazy. Look, they're shoveling the roof.
It began with a blizzard last weekend, forcing a Bills game to be postponed. It barely stopped snowing since.
We aren't young people.
And you
It's been hard.
You guys could use some help.
We could use some high lifts because there's nowhere to put it. And it's really hard to lift it, you know, when you're trying. And then the snowblower breaks and then you're shoveling.
Oh, man. A second lake effect snow system dumped more than 2 feet in some areas this week. More on the way. They have another playoff game, of course, this weekend as well. Very, very cold in Buffalo and those areas.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no thanks.
Hey, the Late Show with Stephen Colbert's coming up.
But first, back with the last check of your forecast.
Weeknights on the X-Files, things get so weird. What? Sometimes you just gotta go with it.
Go with it, Scully.
Little green men?
There it is.
Just go with it.
I'm sorry?
Haunted houses?
Haunted.
Go with it. Horned beasts?
Horned beast?
Just go with it.
Mythological jaguar spirit?
You betcha.
Go with it, Scully.
The whammy?
We put the whammy on him.
Please explain to me the scientific nature of the whammy.
Just go with it, Scully.
Sure, fine. Whatever.
The X-Files, weeknights starting at 8, 7 Central on Comet.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Prime time on TBD just got upgraded. And nothing is off limits. Game on! Catch Whose Line Is It Anyway? Followed by Key and Peele. Weeknights starting at 7, 6 Central on TBD. When all you want is some comfort entertainment, we've got it all on The Nest.
Absolutely amazing.
A brand new network filled with reality TV, unscripted stories, and series that you'll crave.
You and I on the road exploring history.
Fabulous.
I'm a reporter, I'm an author, but most importantly, I'm a mother.
Nothing left to do now but to get this thing sold. It's the ultimate comfort food TV. That's a guarantee. Right here on The Nest. Go to watchthenest.com to find The Nest in your area.
All right, we got a little burst of snow here tonight. Be careful because it is slick once again. Cold, windy weekend, 25 tomorrow, 32 Sunday. Have a safe weekend.
Thank you for joining us tonight. That is it, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert coming your way now.
All right, see you this weekend on CBS 21 News.